Okay, so we're going to find the midpoint, then the distance between 2 points. And I gave you 3 different exercises on this page. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and uh, work out the final example. Okay, so we need to find the midpoint, then the distance between the points -3, 5 and 7, -15. Okay, so first we need to find the midpoint, and then we need to find the distance. So the midpoint, we're just going to go ahead and use the algebraic formula for midpoint. In some previous videos, I showed you, I kind of justified why we had those, but today I'm just going to go ahead and use the algebraic equation for it, which is, or the algebraic formula rather, which is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2 for your x, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2 for your y. Okay, and in order to do that, we just want to make sure that we remember that this is x1 comma y1, and that this is x2 comma y2, and then we just plug that stuff in here and here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and in this case we're going to say -3 plus 7 divided by 2, -3 plus 7 divided by 2, and then our y coordinate is going to be 5 plus -15 divided by 2. Okay, so we know that -3 plus 7 divided by 2, that's going to end up being 4 over 2, and this is going to be 5 plus -15, I guess -10 over 2. So finally we get the coordinates 2 comma -5. 2 comma -5 is the midpoint between our 2 points there. And that looks right because 2 looks like it's halfway between the -3 and the 7, and the -5 looks like it's halfway between the 5 and the -15. So I'm pretty confident that that's right. So then we're going to go ahead and use the distance formula, and we know that the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. The square root of that is going to be the distance. And remember, we had said that the reason for that is because basically it's the Pythagorean theorem. But let's go ahead and find this using these two values again, and this using these two values again. So we have that it's the square root of 7 minus -3 squared plus -15 minus 5 squared. Okay, which is going to be, that distance is equal to the square root of, let's see, 7 minus -3. I'm guessing that that is 10, because when you subtract a negative, it becomes becomes addition. So I've got 10 squared plus -20 squared. Okay, so distance is going to equal the square root of 100 plus 400, which is going to equal the square root of 500. So the distance equals the square root of 500. And then what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to simplify this. Rather than use our calculator and just find the square root of 500, we're going to go ahead and simplify it. And we're going to simplify it the way that I've shown you earlier in this course. We're going to make a factor tree for 500 and bring it down to its prime factorization. So 5 is a prime number times 100, and then 5 is another prime number times 20, and then 5 is another prime number times 4, and then 2 times 2. Okay? So we see that the prime factorization is going to be 2 squared times 5 cubed. One of the nice things about this is that I can then find my square roots really easily, okay? Because I know that this is going to end up being the square root of 2 squared times the square root of, and I can break 5 cubed into 5 squared times 5, because then I have the square root of 2 squared times the square root of 5 squared times the square root of 5. And look at that. The square root of 2 squared is 2, the square root of 5 squared is 5, and then I just leave that as negative 5. There's no way for me to liberate anything from beneath the square root of negative 5. So my final answer is going to be that D is equal to 2 times 5 is 10, 10 square root of 5. Okay, which makes sense actually, because the square root of 100, another way that you could write this is that this is the square root of 5 times the square root of 100, and the square root of 100 is 10. So 10 square root of 5, and that's my answer for distance. This is my answer for midpoint.